In a world marked by constant change and a growing awareness of our environmental and societal responsibilities, the Institute of Tourism and Hotel Management recognizes the paramount role that our sector plays in contributing to the United Nations Sustainable Goals, or SDGs. With this in mind, we have convened this forum to facilitate profound exchange of ideas, insights, and experiences that will enable us to navigate the path towards sustainable tourism harmoniously. The journey towards sustainability is not merely an option, but imperative. Tourism, a thriving industry that connects culture, creates experiences, and fuels economies, must evolve responsibly to ensure well-being of our planet and the future generations. As we converge here today, we acknowledge our shared responsibility to protect the natural and cultural richness of that define our world. Through this Sustainability Forum, we aim to foster collaboration, knowledge sharing, and innovation within hospitality sector. We are privileged to host a distinguished panel of experts, thought leaders, and practitioners who will guide us through this transformative journey. Their wisdom, experiences, and insights will serve as a compass in helping us navigate the intricate terrain of sustainable tourism and make well-informed decisions for the betterment of our industry and our planet. Before we proceed, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the dedicated organizers of this event, specifically the events management class headed by Sir Jim. Let's give them a hand. Their hard work, dedication, and passion have been instrumental in making today's forum a reality. Your efforts have ensured that we can all come together in this important conversation on sustainability in the hospitality industry. Thank you for your exceptional commitment to this cause. As we commence our proceedings, let us reflect on the words of Mahatma Gandhi, who once said, "The future depends on what you do today." It is our collective duty to take proactive steps that will shape a sustainable and harmonious future for tourism and hospitality industry. Once again, we extend our warmest welcome to each and every one of you. We hope that the Sustainability Forum will inspire, educate, and empower us all to make meaningful actions towards sustainable tourism. Together, we can pave the way for a brighter, more sustainable future. Thank you for being part of this essential dialogue, and let us now embark on this journey towards harmony in hospitality, navigating towards sustainable tourism. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that wonderful opening remarks, Dean Harold.
Okay, so before we formally proceed, we would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to the incredible sponsors who have made this event possible. The FEU Tamaraw Chefs, the ITHM Front Office Ambassadors, and the Hotel and Restaurant Management Society. Your generous support has been instrumental in creating this event. Thank you for being an essential part of this event. Let us all give them a warm round of applause.
Moving forward, may we call on our moderator of this event, Ms. Hannah Dairi, to introduce the first speaker for today's event. Let's give him a round of applause.
Mabuhay everyone. So, I would like everyone to meet
an extraordinary individual who dedicated to making a lasting impact on the world. He is the co-founder of Make a Difference Travel and Make a Difference courses and is at the forefront of sustainable tourism and education. With the honor of delivering 3 TEDx talks, he is an inspiring thought leader. As the president of the AVD Green Ants Builders and Green Ants Builders, they lead in marketing and communication strategy, driving the message of environmental responsibility and sustainability. Their role as the sustainability education consultant at the British School Manila and with the Plastic Solution Education and Consultancy, it showcases their commitment to education and raising awareness. A recognized leader on the international stage, he serves as the U.S. Embassy Young Southeast Asian Leader and New Zealand Young CEA Business Leader. Their dedication to social entrepreneurship has earned them prestigious accolades, including the APEC Circular Economy Organization Award, Japan Good Design Award, ASEAN Good Design Award, 10 Accomplished Youth Organization Philippines, and Villar Sipag Youth Awards Philippines. In addition to their work in sustainability and education, he is also known for the role as the co-founder of the Circle Surf Hostel. They've also contributed to environmental and agricultural consultancy in Zambales, mentored at the Department of Trade and Industry Business, and held positions as a former customer development manager at Johnson & Johnson Philippines and a marketing strategy consultant at the Love Institute. Dedicated to giving back, he serves as the vice chair of the Trees at the Rotary Club of Manila. Their accomplishments have not gone unnoticed, having been featured in prestigious media outlets including BBC, CNN, Al Jazeera, BuzzFeed, Rappler, Purveyor, ABS-CBN News, Business Mirror, Agricultural Magazine, Manila Bulletin, and TTG Singapore. Among their affiliations and memberships, he is proud to be associated with the French Chamber of Commerce, accredited by the Department of Tourism as the travel and tour operator, and a member of the SKAL, International Makati, in a world in need of champions for sustainability and social impact. So now, put your hands together and let us welcome Mr. Rafael Dionisio.
Hi everyone. Nakakatawa, nandiyan kayo lahat. Sige. Can I ask lang kung pwede si Andre, baka we can share screen lang. Mag-slideshow ako. Okay, so I hope this works, right? So guys, this morning, pasalamat ako sa mga organizers. No? Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Maybe I'll start off with saying na sobrang mahal ko yung Pilipinas at sobrang ganda ng bansa natin. At yung mag-aalaga nito yung turismo, tingin ko more than just agriculture or forestry, each of you have a role to play here because tourism is the unseen, right, or not so obvious caretaker of the planet. Why? Kasi ang tourism masaya. Sino ba dito ang gustong maglakwatsa o mag-travel? Taas, di ba? All of you want to, right? Right? So, in our experience, because we are focused on educational tourism, lahat ng tinuturo ko, kapag nasa field kami, nakangiti yung tinuturuan ko. Pag nasa classroom ako, nakasimangot sila. And do you know where they pay more attention? On field, right? And so that's why each of you, I hope you take notes. Please take as many pictures of my slides as you like. I will give you a copy of my slides also if you want, right? So that you have reference, no? So siguro I'll start with a big paradigm shift that is happening around the world today. Are you familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals? Yes? Ang SDG, to make it simple, ito yon. Let's talk about development. Katutubo, kausap nila malaking kumpanya, magde-develop sa lupaing ninuno nila, magkakaroon ng dam. Ang sagot ng katutubo sa kwento, Sir, Mr. Katutubo, mag-development kami sa inyo, kikita kayo. Ang sagot ni Elder, Sir, gusto namin ng development. Pero ang development para sa amin, ibig sabihin, aalagaan ang tubig, aalagaan ang lupa. Hindi lang po siya pera. That is the core of the Sustainable Development Goals. Nakasama ang kalikasan sa kabuhayan. No? And so, for us, this is our framework for sustainability. It follows what you call the International Sustainability Compass. Society and community, environment, economy, but also your personal well-being. Kasi kung wala yung personal well-being, martyr kayong lahat. Gusto nyo ba maging martyr? Diba? Ayaw natin ng mahirap na buhay, so kailangan enjoy din kayo. And that's where tourism is so important. Because if you can make helping people, planet, and making money fun, everyone will want to do it, right? And so, we start off with the story of our forest. I'm talking about communities here, no, in tourism, right? Alala nyo ba kung magkano yung bili ng US sa Pilipinas nung binenta tayo ng Spain? How many dollars was that? Anyone? 20 million US. That's what we were bought for. And if you look at the Senate meeting minutes in the US Senate, that's available online, you will see that one of the senators is explaining to the US President at that time. He says, Mr. President, there is no land or soil in California that is as fertile as the soil or land in Luzon. And the Philippines has lumber to last generations. 70% lasted several generations. Cutting trees is not bad, but not replanting them makes it bad. And we did not restore the resource that was taken from us. No? One of the reasons why the Philippines, that's one of the storylines of the Philippines being a resource-rich country. Now, pag walang puno, umiinit. Alam natin yan. Just look here, 33 degrees, 66 degrees. Pag naghihintay kayo ng sundo, sigurado, nasa ilalim kayo ng puno o nasa ilalim kayo ng shade. O nasa indoors kayo, naka-aircon. Right? And who is drought-hitting? Communities, no? I'll give you an example. We're working with a community in Lobo, Batangas. Meron ba ditong taga Lobo? Meron ba ditong taga Batangas? Meron, ayun. May rice terraces doon. Napakaganda. Ginaya nila yung Ifugao rice terraces. Pero nung akit namin, yung mga farms, kalahati lang yung ng farm yung may tanim. So nagtatanong ako, bakit kalahati lang, sir? Yung iba sabi, sir, kasi yung fertilizer times 3 na po yung presyo. Pero hindi namin maitaas yung presyo ng bigas namin. So ba't pa ako magtatanim para magbenta? Para sa akin na lang. Yung iba naman ang sagot, sir, wala na kaming tubig. Hindi na sapat yung tubig namin. Kaya, hindi na kami nagtanim. No? And trees kasi, ang bawat puno, pag malaki yan, ang hawak niya sa ilalim ng lupa, 2,000 liters of water per tree. So, if you don't have trees, as you saw earlier, pag nawala yan, mababawasan din yung tubig nyo. So, some rivers in Mindanao, 75% of their water reduced since 1950. No? This is not a Philippine phenomenon. This is happening in the Mississippi River in the US. You can Google that, no? And pagbaha, pag tag-ulan, grabe. Diba? Sino na ba dito ang naabala ng baha? Taas kamay. Naabala, nahassle sa baha. No? I'm assuming most of you, if not all. Diba? So, if this works, I'm praying it works because it's a short video. No? Ayan. I want to show you a short video about water retention because the forest is about water at its core. No? So you have two boxes here, right? Yung box sa kanan nyo, may halaman. Yan ang bundok na may puno. Yung box sa kaliwa, walang halaman. Tignan nyo. So nagdilig sila, parang umuulan. Dito, sa taas lumalabas yung tubig. Tala niya yung topsoil. Ang bilis lumabas ng tubig, sa kabila wala pa. This is a landslide. It's a flash flood, right? And the topsoil is the most healthy part of the soil. That's where all your fertilizer goes. So, mangyari, yung farmers na ganito lupa nila, next year, gastos ka ulit. Ito, tingnan mo. lumabas sa ilalim, mabagal, malinis. Right? That is water control. That is the river, the stream, yung balon, yung sapa, kung saan kayo nag-swimming. Kahit tag-araw, tag-init, ganyan, may tubig na malinis. Yan ang regalo ng gubat. Pero hindi natin nakikita. At ito, ang ganda ng video na paliwanag niya sa atin kung ano siya. No? And so, our story for community-based tourism starts in San Felipe, Zambales. Ito po yung litrato. Nasusunog kasi yan every year. No? And our goal is to reforest 4,000 hectares of ancestral domain. Right? Yung lupaing ninuno. 1 hectare is 10,000 square meters. Right? So, we decided to set up a program called Tribes and Treks kasi sabi ng mga tao doon, kulang sila ng kabuhayan. Grade 4 to grade 6 ang average educational attainment. No? So here are some photos lang. Ang ganda ng trekking doon. Diba? Pag pagod, renta kami ng kalabaw para pwedeng sumakay. Tapos may cultural immersion, archery, and then herbal medicine. Merong herbal tea na pampagrow ng buhok, merong pampatanggal ng sakit ng tiyan, merong pampatagal ng an-an, no? Ang dami, right? And then we work with them as to work with the moms, yung mga nanay. Ay, ano ba yung best dish nyo? Tapos ayusin natin para restaurant level yung kakainin nyo. Tapos kukunin namin, bibilan namin sila ng mga plato, para naman may alfresco restaurant sila yung dating, no? And then we plant as much as you like, no? Kasi ang laki ng lupa, no? So we plant forest trees, bamboo, and fruit trees. Now, during our first tour, our pilot tour, nagdala ako ng 20 packs. Mga kaibigan ko yan, birthday ko, tama na kayo. Nung babayaran ko na si Chieftain, ang bayad ko sa kanya, Chieftain, ito po, 3,000, no? Para sa inyo. Tapos sabi niya, Sir, wag mo na kaming bayaran. Tapos ako, nagtataka ako, ba't ayaw mo ng pera? Hindi ba ito yung dahilan kung bakit tayo nagturismo? Para magkapera kayo. Kasi we all know tourism is very profitable. It can be, diba? And si Chieftain, for perspective, nasa 4-piece yan. So, yung kikitain niya in 1 month might be 1,500 to 2,000. So, to get 3,000 in 1 day is a big number, di ba? Ang sagot niya sa akin, stunned me. He was teaching me. No? He said, Sir, kung bigyan mo kami ng pera ngayon, baka magastos namin sa load, sa 3-in-1 na kape, o sa sigarilyo. Hindi yan papakinabangan ng community namin ng matagal. In English, Sir, it's not sustainable. These are things we will just spend on. So, kamot ulo ako, sabi ko, Chieftain, so anong gusto nyo? Sabi niya, Sir, tignan nyo po yung lupaing ninuno namin. 4,000 hektarya pero nakatiwangwang, walang laman. Kung partner namin kayo, dalhan nyo kami ng mga buto o binhi. Kasi yan, itatanim lang namin. Hindi yan gagastusin. At kahit nakawin yan, itatanim yan ng magnanakaw. At makikinabang ang anak namin, makikinabang ang apo ko. No? Kasi, in essence, he was saying, you can't outgive God. You can't outgive nature. Kasi pag ang puno, lumaki, grabe ang bunga niyan. No? And so, what we did, coming from his lesson, we did 2 things. One is, we said, let's plant for the environment. And the second one is, let's plant for livelihood. No? So this is the planting for environment that we did. No? We started growing in 2016, and then we planted in 2017. Yun lang, walang audio. Oh no, sayang. Sige, I'll talk over. 2017, Mountain Mayang. 2021, all the guests nag-seed potting o nag-tree planting. This is June 2023, same mountain. No? This is the valley we're working with, victim of Mount Pinatubos Lahar. No? And so these are shots of the area. Guests get to plant, right? And we soon realized na hindi naman lahat ng tao babiyahin ng 5 hours papuntang San Felipe para magtanim. Medyo, ang layo. No? So, ang nangyari, we started accepting, we now issue tree planting certificates na patanim na lang. No? And we plant them every May, June, July, depending on the rain. This year we planted July kasi hinintay namin talagang pumasok yung ulan. No? So, yun, we're at about 50,000 trees now. Yung maganda lang dito, 30,000 are cashew, right? Kasi yung kabuhayan nila napakahalaga. Lahat sila naka 4-piece. So, the cashew, what's nice, one, drought tolerant, kaya niya yung soil ng San Felipe. So, nag-consult kami with agroforestry experts. We consulted with a coffee company and they said, you can't grow coffee there. But I think you can grow cashew. Kasi, tingnan mo, dumalaki na siya. Walang ginagawa yung tao, no? So, yesterday, we just convened and started the Zambales Cashew Board so that nationwide, at buong province-wide, makonect na namin lahat ng mga cashew growers in Zambales kasi hindi pa siya organized, no? Now, ito naman, this is the video for the results of planting for economy, right? So if you remember, si Chieftain, babayaran dapat, imbis na pera, sabi ko, sige Chieftain, gagamitin ko tong pera, kukunan ko kayo ng mga seeds. So we got ube seeds from Good Shepherd Sisters. Alam nyo ba, yung ube, yung tapa ng ube, ay seed. Tapos, nung nakuha namin, nag-training kami, Japanese-style ube chips. Sobrang nipis, sobrang crunchy, sarap. Tapos mildly sweet or mildly salty. Diba? And then, ito na yung mga programs, no? We started, after a few years, lumalaki na yung puno. No? Some of our trees are as tall as 50 feet. No? And the trees are flower-bearing. When there are flowers, there are bees. When there are bees, there's honey. And so it's another product for them. Right? This is another community. This is just in Subic Bay. We planted just before COVID. Sabi namin, Nay, magtanim na kayo kasi pag may turismo, we will convince your guests to buy your produce. And if not the guests, the hotels nearby. In 1 year, in the middle of COVID, boom, yung papaya farm niya. And then ngayon, yung calamansi farm niya, no? And then ito, yung trip ko ng birthday ko, I forced my friends to plant bamboo. Tapos, years later, ayan na, bamboo stars, bamboo parols. Zero waste parol pa. Diba? Napakaganda. Gawa ng tao ng Pilipino, no? So, yun lang yung mga nakikita nating opportunity, no? This is the progression of our cashew today, right? Cashew starts to bloom on the 3rd year. And so, you notice I'm not talking tourism a lot to you, I'm talking a lot of agroforestry and forestry to you, diba? Because the way we see tourism is it must be multidisciplinary, as what Sir Randy was chatting with us earlier, no? You really need all the disciplines, but you must present it in a way na naintindihan ng bisita. At dapat masaya, no? Kung hindi masaya, hindi ka papakinggan, no? So now we have a new program called Feast in the Forest. Punta ka sa gubat, may kape ka, may 3 klaseng honey, iba-ibang bulaklak yan, at may 3 klaseng tsaa. Actually, hindi, 4 yan, no? Feast in the Forest. And then may nagsabi, Sir, ayaw namin pumunta dyan sa gubat, masyadong malayo. O sige sir, feast from the forest. Dyan tayo sa opisina nyo. We give a lecture on the forest, on sustainable tourism, on conservation, and then lahat kayo, kain kayo, inom kayo, no? Para maintindihan ng tao, ano ba ang benepisyo ng gubat sa buhay namin? Hindi kasi yun klaro eh. So ito na, kinaklaro natin. Coffee, why is it a forest crop? Coffee needs to grow in the shade of a bigger tree. If there's no shade, you'll have to spend on water, it's more expensive. If there's no shade, baka mamatay siya. Coffee is an agroforestry crop, DA certified yan. Tea, banaba, coffee leaf, guyabano, anonas, fruit trees, regular trees, very healthy. No? Meron pang bamboo leaf, and yung bamboo leaf yung has silica, which is good for your hair growth. No? So tea, you can harvest from the forest without destroying the forest. Diba? At napakamahal nan siya sa UK. Ang mahal-mahal nan siya, ba't di na lang tayo gumawa? No? And then honey. New Zealand is known for Manuka honey because they tested their honey, organic. This one, ito, light colored siya kasi ito yung bulaklak ng makahiya. Ito, dark colored to kasi bulaklak to ng apitong. Apitong is a dipterocarp. It is a 100 to 200 foot tree. Right? So depende sa halaman, dyan lumalabas yung honey. No? At di ba parang masarap tikman? Diba? So, unfortunately, I don't have samples now, but we can organize that next time. These are just some of the programs we do. We are pushing for regenerative tourism. Meaning, kung saan kami nag-start, dapat matagal kami doon. We have a 5 to 10 year span. In one community, we have a 20-year plan. And we try to make things better, either conserving it or restoring it. Mangrove restoration, forest conservation, forest restoration, forest restoration. All of it is in partnership with communities. Why? Ang sabi po sa akin ng head of the Hinuluban Foundation in Bukidnon, who have already reforested 3,000 hectares, who already have a Philippine eagle returning to their forest site. Ang sabi niya, hindi mo kayang mag-isa. Kung seryoso ka na magtatanim ka ng gubat, dalhin mo dito yung katutubo kasi sila yung kailangan namin i-training, ikaw hindi. So, dinala namin yung katutubo sa kanya para maintindihan. Dapat tayong lahat on the same framework, no? And culture, no? Conservation, and restoration and sustainability. The interesting thing is that if you mix food into it, everybody wants to go. Kasi gusto ng tao yung pagkain. So yung sa Rice Terraces, yung program namin, rice cake tsaka tsaa. Masaya yung tao. But we'll talk about soil building, soil restoration, because the world's soils are degrading. And we'll talk about water. No? And I was telling your dean earlier, we have ambitious cleanup for Manila Bay, no? That we would like to really push, and we need young people to help us there. No? So communities will be part of the solution because they're going to grow everything that we need, right? And they can grow it sustainably if they're empowered, if they have the right tools, the right science, the right funding, the right partners, such as yourselves. No? So the other thing I want to talk about, apart from the forest, is the ocean. Diba? Mahilig ako mag-swimming. Sino ba dito mahilig sa beach? No? I'm sure ang dami. Now, unfortunately, dumudumi yung karagatan natin. No? This guy, siya po yung surf instructor ko. He's a internationally accredited surf instructor, si Paulo Soler. No? And nung nag-post siya, sabi niya, galit na galit siya kasi nag-surf siya puro basura. No? And what we found out is, na-trigger kasi ako nung nakita ko yung post niya kasi sabi ko, uy, nagsusurfing ako dyan, ba't ang dumi? Diba? Parang playground ko yan. What are people doing to it? No? And then, nakikita ko yung, internet. Mga videos na ganito na yung ilog, sobrang dumi, diba? Tuloy-tuloy lang yung agos ng plastic, no? Tapos, meron pa na yung plastic na yan, pagdating yan sa dagat, kakainin siya ng isda. So it starts to be in the belly of the fish, no? Unfortunately. I hope this works, no? Ayun. So, the fish will eat the plastic because it looks like a jellyfish or it looks like a smaller fish. No? So this is the belly of yellowfin tuna. So kung mahilig kayo sa Japanese food, sa sushi at sashimi, ayan. Bottle cap ng malaking water container. No? If we irresponsibly throw it, then we will unknowingly eat it. Bilog ang mundo. And the circular economy exists whether you acknowledge it or not. So you must understand environmental science because tourism in the Philippines mainly is about environment, diba? And even our cultural practices are influenced mainly by the environment. All the indigenous traditions inspired by the environment yan, a deep understanding of our environment. No? So in Metro Manila, the average person produces 700 grams of plastic per day, right? It might be lower for some, might be higher for some, it depends. Right? In the countryside, mas mababa. Right? But did you know that if plastic, halimbawa coral to, landing plastic, if it stays here, it will aggregate dirt, bacteria, germs. Plastic doesn't go away, doesn't die. That bacteria will hit the coral. The coral is 89% likely to get sick. 89! That's almost guaranteed magkasakit siya. Now, so what if the coral dies? Well, 1 hectare of coral is 1,000 kilos of seafood per year. So what happens when we start losing 10 hectares of coral? That's 10,000 kilos. What happens when we lose 100,000 hectares of coral? Which is happening. We start to lose a serious amount of food. Magkano na ang seafood ngayon? Diba? Hindi siya mura, napakamahal na. No? And I don't know if you saw the article online about yung contested areas with China. Diba may reef doon na nasira, nag-report. That's not by accident. That's economic sabotage. Kasi yan ang spawning ground ng isda ng Pilipinas. Pag dyan sila pinanganak, pupunta sila dito sa atin para madaling makuha. Pag sinira mo yun, saan tayo kukuha ang isda? Kasi wala na yung birthing grounds nila. No? So this is what happens, dead reefs. No? And so we really need to understand deeply. Again, people do not take care of what they don't understand. Hindi mo aalagaan hanggang hindi mo naiintindihan. At ako, nung pasok ko sa tourism, hindi ko to naintindihan. Akala ko, maganda yung beach game. Maganda yung gubat game. Maganda yung trek game. Pero ngayon, wow. Yung scientific metrics are so persuasive in making me understand ito pala yung kahalagahan niya. No? Plastic. If you don't like global warming, right? If you don't like hot days, plastic in its life cycle produces 3 kilos of carbon. 1:3 yan. So, we have a carbon limit in the world. It's about 450 gigatons, right? Before we have what they call irreversible climate change. We're currently producing at 59 gigatons per year. And each of us has a role to play with the plastic we choose to use or choose to avoid, right? So I'm begging you guys, if you can use refillable bottles, if you can change policies and be creative, puro baonan, that is the way forward because the plastic is carbon. And the carbon makes rain stronger, makes our temperature hotter, right? It'll exacerbate El Nino and La Nina, right? And then kasiguran aurora, meron bang taga-aurora dito? 60 degrees Celsius, nakita nyo ba yan? 60. No joke ang 60 guys. First time ko nakita na pumalo ng 60 ang Pilipinas, no? So, what I'm showing this because our response as a tourism entity was to create a educational campaign on plastic. 1, segregate it. 2, dispose of it properly. And 3, kung kaya, huwag niyo na po siyang gamitin. Anything that is not needed, no? And so this is a feature on BBC, which featured our surf hostel in La Union, right? Where we tried to segregate and then we tried to use recycled plastic in different ways, no? So here, we were able to recycle it into structures. I'll show you na lang. Wall, no? And I'm showing you the brands, no? Because these are the brands that we all partake of. Ako rin naman guilty ako dyan, no? But I'm showing it to you because maybe there's a way we can reduce it. Maybe there's a way we can convince them that we want it in a refillable container, right? Because companies follow the market. No? Si Human Nature, si Unilever, napilitang mag-refill kasi lahat ng kliyente nila humihingi ng refill. It's that simple. No? So this wall, 1.5 tons of plastic. It's still there today. Better in my wall than in the ocean. Right? We tried to convince different popular people to do the same. We got Miss Earth. Pag may Miss Earth pala na nagtuturo, lahat nakikinig. No? At oversubscribed yung classroom. Right? But we only got to 10 tons in 3 years. Napaka-konti. No? And so, one of the, I guess, interesting things now, if you build in tourism, if any of you is going to build a resort, hotel, restaurant, this is interesting because they have bricks. We're now pushing and promoting bricks that use recycled plastic as part of the content. You can build with it, and the plastic is recycled, right? It's broken down into sachets, and then it's mixed with the binder and the cement. Then, yan siya. No? So, just in the interest of time, these are some of the products that can be used. And I've put there how many plastic bottles worth each brick is. Konti lang, no? Pero pag pinagsama-sama mo yan, medyo malaki yan. No? And it's better na nandito siya kaysa sa nasa dagat. Sira yung coral reef natin, sira yung food system natin. No? And the interesting thing here is that it's actually up to 5 times stronger than regular blocks. No? And these are plastics that you can collect, and there are drop-off points in different Ayala malls. I believe SM has their own drop-off system as well. No? I know Robinsons is going to set one up soon, right? So even the billionaires of this country are acknowledging that plastic is an issue that we must face, right? And so I hope that you think about it also, kasi each of us is a plastic user, right? So these products are starting to go mainstream. Shell, McDonald's, no, in Makati, ginagamit na siya, and that's a good sign, no? At least nagsisimulang lumaki yung circular economy. But still, the best option is to avoid it when possible. Diba? Now, there's a law in the Philippines, because people always ask me, what's the government doing? They did something. They passed a law. We're one of 77 countries that now have a plastic tax. This year, you must collect 20% of all plastic you sell. So if you sell 100 bottles, at the start of next year, the government will go to you and say, where's the 20 that you collected? Show me proof. And then packet yan ang packet hanggang 80%. No? This is required for all large companies, right? And a lot of tourism companies are large companies, right? But at the end of the day, it is a behavioral decision for you. Ito po, lahat ng tao dito nag-dine in. Pero lahat sila naka-take out cup. Hindi ko po maintindihan. Bakit pa? Una, sayang yung 5 pesos na packaging. Pangalawa, sino magbabayad for waste disposal? Siyempre tayo. It's our taxes. No? Or it's not yours, it's your parents' taxes or your teacher's taxes. Right? Sayang. You can even swap your toothbrush for a bamboo toothbrush. They exist now. Diba? Less plastic. Why not? Diba? Try natin, no? And so, I'm close to the end. This is Manila Bay, right? It's an often forgotten piece of land. And I was talking to Sir Randy kanina, who he got to study in Hawaii, tourism, no? And sa Hawaii, ang linis ng beachfronts nila. Sa atin po hindi. Diba? Sanay na tayo na madumi. Now, this is a common scene around our bay area sa Tondo, Navotas, no? And our Manila Bay is 199,000 hectares. So I asked myself, how much food will Manila Bay produce if it's clean? So we looked at data from the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History in the US. They said that 2% of all ocean is reef. So I used 1.5% as a conservative number. And then I just straight line multiply times 2,900 hectares times 1,000 kilos of seafood per hectare per year. So ang lumabas, 2.9 million kilos of seafood ang kayang i-produce ng Manila Bay. Pag na-produce natin yan, kung mali si Manila Bay, babagsak yung presyo ng isda sa Pilipinas. No? So that's Manila Bay, right? But it's also connected to an estuary called Pasig River. Pag tag-init, it flows up, at pag tag-ulan, it flows down. Depende yan, no? Ang ibig sabihin nun, yung Laguna de Bay at Manila Bay connected. So hindi mo malilinis yung isa kung yung kabila marumi. Connected sila, right? And the reality is that in a survey, social weather survey, no, Filipinos said that people who are reckless in throwing and disposing of their garbage, that is the #1 reason for dirty waterways. And that is also probably a big reason for expensive fish in the Philippines. Right? It's not the only reason, but it is part of the challenges that we need to change. Right? And if it's clean, we all benefit. Sino ba hindi milig sa isda? So this one, I saw Rotary, we're trying to work with Rotary Club to get trash collectors. Because Pasig River alone can collect 330 tons a month. Kami nag 10 tons in 3 years. Sila, isang buwan lang. 330 tons ang kaya ng Pasig River. And so, it's a telltale sign that we do have to do our part. We're hoping that you guys can be part of this. We are going to look for volunteers for Mad Club because we need to clean up Pasig River, Laguna de Bay, Manila Bay, right? And we want to have a lot of fun doing it, right? And if the Pasig River group of the government is empowered, they can double it now. And they're underfunded. We've been talking to them for almost a year now. Right? Even the Manila Bay groups are underfunded, right? And put together, if we clean it, that's 4 million kilos of seafood. Diba? Sayang naman yung pagkain. Diba? So yeah, communities are part of the solution to the circular economy. Why? Because communities will also pick up the trash. Communities are also the fishermen. Communities are the reforestation people. They are part of it. No? And so when we talk about community-based tourism, I hope that your perspective changes from, because the initial perspective I got was community is small. But knowing what I know now, I realize that community is huge. And they have probably the best chance of changing the climate. Kasi sila nga yung pinakamaliit yung emissions. Sila pa ang pinakamalaki yung possible na absorption. Tayo sa syudad, medyo mahirap. No? Iba ang buhay natin. At sila, kailangan natin silang tulungan. At the same time, makabakasyon tayo, have a good business, enjoy life, no? Earn money as well for everyone. That's the whole point, right? And so I'll just flip here quickly. This is a circular economy tour program, no? That features communities, right? Just because this is a new product that we pitched to Department of Tourism and to Sustainable PH, they're training sustainability practitioners, no? We ran our first batch and there's good feedback, no? Kasi kailangan natin maintindihan yung how does the city and countryside connect to each other? How do communities connect to big sustainability, right? Again, people do not take care of what they don't understand, right? But now, I hope that with this short sharing, you understand a little better, right? And the question is, what are you going to do with the information that you have today, right? So with that, guys, thank you, and I hope you follow us online, no? So, it's our Instagram and Facebook. Maraming salamat. Back to the host, or hosts.
So thank you so much for that very insightful presentation, Sir Rafael. Now let's move forward for the question and answer portion. The stage is now open for questions.
Any questions, guys?
Right, sir. Good morning. That's a very impactful talk. All of us are very enticed. So, on a nutshell, parang drugs siya, di ba? For example, there are pushers and there are who manufactures the drugs. So, same with the provision of plastics. So, most of us are being parang called out the attention of the users of the plastic. So, what are the certain movements to be penalized yung mga users talaga of the plastics?
Okay. So, ganito. The plastic transition, hindi siya madali. Kasi it took several years. 50 years ago, walang plastic sa supermarket. Yung supermarket na inabutan ng lolo at lola natin, wala. Pero, today, puno na siya ng plastic. Right? So that transition took decades. For us, it might take a decade or two. Realistically, no? And medical grade plastic is very hard to dispose of. That's why recycling is really needed, right? But to answer your question specifically, no, one, there are penalties for people, for organizations who don't follow. Kasi nga, ang storyline, hindi lang sa Pilipinas, pero sa buong mundo of the law is that Company A produces plastic, tapos may basura. Ang sasabihin ni Company A, in any country, hindi lang Pilipinas, ay, kasalanan yan ng gobyerno, hindi nila kinuha yung basura. Now, you look at government, and the government be like, di naman kami nag-invento nito . Paano ba ito asikasuhin? Right? Shouldn't the inventor also be responsible for the end of the life cycle? Kasi ikaw gumawa, ikaw nagbenta. Right? So the law now puts the responsibility on the producer. And this is not alone in the Philippines, this is in 77 countries. Right? And so, there are strict penalties. Penalty 1 is 5 million, penalty 2 is 10 million, penalty 3 is 15 million plus revocation of business license. Good enough? Right? Now, in the Philippines, there's a saying, and I hope you don't get mad for saying this, sometimes the law is optional. Diba? So may natatawa. This law is not optional. You know why? Because too many consumers already demand it from their company. 70% of Filipinos today will buy from a company with a sustainable platform, will want a leader with an environmental platform. That's SWS survey. If there are too many of us who want it, then the government will give it, the corporations will give it. So when I started giving talks like this in 2016, wala pa po yung EPR law. A lot of the government people I had interacted with, new information to them. And I get it. Hindi naman siya inaaral in school Kasi wala pa yung problemang to nung nasa college sila. Pero kayo ngayon, yung problema nandito na. Kaya kayo tinuturuan para alam nyo kung paano asikasuhin yung problema. But that also means you can ask people older than yourself, uy, you helped build this problem, help us clean it up naman. Diba? And I think that's the message there, no? So, maybe it's not as straight line as you like. Wala pa tayong, yung individual penalties, hindi pa siya na i-implement. But there are some towns that have individual penalties. For example, Caloocan, 2,000 pesos on littering. But people don't know that. There was one time, may business call ako sa isang building sa Caloocan. And then, yung security guard, nagpaalam mo sa kanya, and then biglang may ali, nagtapon ng basura sa harapan niya. Tapos pinagtawanan yung security guard, tapos umalis. Tapos ako, pambihira tong ating to ah. Tapos sabi ko, kuya, ba't mo yan? Ba't mo pinayagan? Parang ginagago ka, nakaka-insulto. Sabi niya, sir, kasi kaibigan ni Cap. So kinuha ko yung bote. Tapos sakto, nahabol ko yung ate sa elevator. Sabay kami sa elevator. Ginoogle ko na yung law. Sabi ko, ate, alam mo, bawal yan, di ba? Alam mo, may 5,000 pesos yan. Sabi niya, ay, kaibigan ko si Cap. Sabi ko, di ma'am, report ko sa mayor. Ay, hindi. Eh ma'am, post ko sa FB. Oh, tahimik siya. Tapos bumaba siya, nag-sorry siya sa security guard. May batas, you can use that. No? We have to remember, no? And it's hard, kasi we tried policing it in Zambales. Nakipagsapakan yung bisita sa sumusuway sa kanya. But again, that's why understanding the metrics is important. Yung nakipagsapakan, extreme naman yun, lasing siya eh. So medyo bad timing to, talk to him. Right? But that's why I'm hoping we can connect with more schools to give these talks. Public schools, man, we need to get the message out. Other question?
Sir, excuse me po. I have another last question, sir. Question lang po, sir, like for us students po na who wants to participate, like volunteering in such part like that po. Do we have any organizations or partnerships po na nag-accumulate or nag-i-inquire po ng mga students like us na interested po in joining voluntary works po?
So, I hope na you'll consider us as one of the orgs, either through MAD or Plastic Solution. Kanina nag-usap kami, we should do a partnership. We do want to have a MAD club where some of our tour programs kasi talagang a lot of people pay for that naman. Pero kung yung program kasi to do regenerative work, minsan mahirap siya, hindi siya pambisita. We're gonna open that for free to people where we need real people doing real work. No? And we want to start it in the city. And we're hoping at some point we can even open a turtle walk. Kasi may mga pawikan sa Manila Bay. Hindi lang natin alam. Sayang. Kailangan natin alagaan. So yun.
Thank you so much, sir. Guys, do you have any questions po?
For me po, question ko po, okay lang din po ba na magkaroon din po ng taxes for plastic or yung mga single waste? Yun
So,
po yung tanong ko.
Good question. Yung batas kanina, essentially tax na siya ngayon. Hindi lang siya tax upfront sa harap. Tax siya sa dulo. Kasi ang pwedeng gawin kasi diba 20% yung pinapakuha ngayon. So si gobyerno, dalawa lang ang option niya. Either ikaw, nagbebenta ka ng single-use plastic, add 20% to your cost. Or ikaw, nagbebenta ka ng single-use plastic, at the end of the year, ikaw maglinis. Diba? Tapos yung penalty is, kung hindi ka sumunod, no? Pero essentially, it's a plastic tax kasi nagmahal yung cost of using plastic packaging. And it only applies to plastic. And I think in the next couple of years, they will include styrofoam and other items. Kasi bago po yung batas. Alam niyo ba yung batas ngayon, sobrang bago na wala pang alam yung gobyerno natin, hindi pa nila alam kung saan siya pupunta. So a lot of it is still very experimental because it's the first time humanity is facing this issue. Indonesia is looking at, Malaysia, I think, is looking at us, or Indonesia, saying, sige nga Pilipinas, paano yung gagawin yung plastic tax nyo? Pag nagawa nyo, gagaya kami. No? Yan yung sitwasyon natin ngayon. No? But again, the best way to do that is to reduce your plastic. Kasi we've been looking at information and works and talks from different thought leaders around the world. There's a book called Speed and Scale, which is available online. That one, they're trying to avert the climate crisis. Kasi nga, palakas ng palakas yung mga bagyo, yung tag-init, umaabot na sa US, sa Germany, no? Finally, they're feeling it. Now they want to do something about it. Now, they outlined a plan on how to solve everything, right? One of the many things that has to happen, that they're hoping will happen, is to ban single-use plastic on everything except medical. Kasi ang medical, life or death, payagan. Pero ang position nila, single-use plastic can only be used for medical cases. So, and I think it's possible because, do you know San Miguel beer? Right? Do you know that's, di ba San Miguel glass bottle pa sila? You know they're the most profitable beer company in the world because they have the highest recycling rate of glass bottles in the world. The example exists. Right? So I hope Coke considers, oy, gayahin nyo naman si San Miguel, di ba? Kasi naka-plastic sila ngayon. No? So anyway, that's the issue.
From our audience po, any questions pa po?
Right, sir. So, I'm just really curious now on your thoughts about this. So, with the current status of Manila Bay, like, do you honestly think that we could restore it in its original form?
I honestly think we can restore it to its original form if people like yourself commit to saying, yes, I will, and I'll follow reducing the waste. It's only possible if people like yourself do that, no? Manila Bay kasi is often forgotten. Diba? Tanungin mo yung magulang nyo, sa kanila, ay, madumi yan. Hindi na nga siya tourist spot for some people eh. Diba? But if it was clean, do you know how much money would come into Manila Bay? That's billions of pesos. Kasi kung malinis yan, oh my God, parang siyang Hawaii. Sayang.
Good afternoon po, sir. So my question po is, aside from reducing of plastic and planting trees and seeds po, ano po kaya yung pwede nyo ma-recommend, especially po sa amin na estudyante, for sustainable development?
Well, yung reducing plastic, mahirap na yan gawin. That's one. So magdala kayo ng baunan, tumblers. You might also want to consider kung saan nyo ginagastos yung pera nyo. Kasi meron dyan mga kumpanya na walang paki sa kalikasan at meron kumpanya na meron. No? So, yung boto nyo, yung pera nyo. so, and then, kung meron kayong company na binibilhan pero hindi sustainable yung ano nila, sulatan nyo sila. Kasi maybe your message won't be heard. But as I said earlier, Unilever, Human Nature, they probably got 1,000 messages and they're like, oops, this is too much too. This is very serious na. Kasi people, you know what happened? People were shifting brands. Right? And if a company loses its customer, magtataka sila kung bakit. And if they lose you, they'll want to get you back. And if plastic is the reason, maybe they can do something about it. So your voice counts. If you TikTok about it or you Instagram about it, that also helps. No? Organize events in public schools or in the barangay. Talk to your family. Yeah. Guys, sorry, I have to go na. I have another commitment, but thank you very much. I hope you got my email earlier. Just feel free to shoot me an email. We'd like to work with you. We'll have internship programs ready as well. So just send. And then, yung kopya ng slides, nasa booth. They have the link. So if you can just, Andre, if you can just share it with the crowd, yun. So you can contact me anytime. Okay? Sige. Maraming salamat, guys.
So thank you so much po, sir. And sir, before you go po, we have something to give you for appreciation po. So may we call on we will now move on in awarding of certification of appreciation to Mr. Rafael Dionisio for coming as today with us, for sharing his expertise, inspiration, impactful message as well for us. So may we call on Mr. Jim Ray Bagsik for awarding this certificate.
Also, our academic managers. and the other faculty members po. Especially our sustainability.
Sa baba.
We would like to extend our heartfelt appreciation to our esteemed speaker.